Yes, I am back, and if you heard the Spanish version, do not press pause, because this is entirely improvised. I barely remember what I said in the Spanish video. I know the topic, but this will be a dive into the unknown, right? So, I warned you about this video when I'm tackling the corruption, the hypocrisy in the athletics. Its world, its ethics or lack of ethics, morals, greed, insatiable hunger for more. Like the marketing, how they frame things, the triumph of the against all adversities, or how we are surpassing our wildest dreams and how we can always go faster and get stronger, etc. Well, I don't know what's the point of that. I do know one point, which is to sell more. Because imagine how many is that correct? How much less they would be selling if sort of the scam of records didn't exist or couldn't be happening, right? Perhaps the hype behind the hope of beating a record, but you need records to sell shoes, and you need stuff to excite the masses, right? Because that's how this industry works. And they don't only do that by investing millions, billions in bribing and in creating corrupt systems, but also by harnessing awful human rights violations like what's happening in China with the camps, and how big brands use that forced labor to just get a cheaper sort of chain of production, and then they rip you off big time when you buy it. And then we become part of that criminal machine. Well, but the more information we filter through our systems, the better hopefully things will be. But every now and then you have scapegoats in sports. Like in the 1994 was Maradona made the scapegoat for the doping sort of pest that happens in the football world and every other sport. And then Lance Armstrong, my dear friend, they bashed him so hard that they create the opposite effect. I like the guy. He wasn't the only one. He was part of a system in which everyone consumes stuff that will help them to win because there's a lot of money involved, ego, glory, sponsors, pressures, etc. But as long as people get into those dynamics willingly, I don't have pity for them, because no one forced them to be part of such a perversion and delusional mechanism, right? So no sympathy for them. But Lance was made the scapegoat. And one interest mechanism that happens in politics as well, in every sort of power dynamic dimension, they identify the evil. Who was the evil then? Lance. Everyone was pointed at him. And I'll remind you, I'll take you to the Gospels, the New Testament, when Jesus found a man who was allegedly possessed. He brought the demons out of that man, cast them into some pigs that were eating there, and then the pigs run over a cliff into the depths. So I think that's an acute metaphor of what happens here. Everyone, all those who know they are dirty themselves, they point at the scapegoat in order to cleanse their own sins, right? It's I would say it's survival, or it's a sort of a conjurer method, or a trickster in the street that distracts you with your attention and takes your watch. They take much more than our watches, but Lance was the worst piece of shit in the whole world for some months at least. Well, he still is trying to be banned from trail races, which is silly, of course. But doping will continue to happen as long as we are feverishly running behind, pun intended, records, glory, etc., marketing. So Radamés RDS is going to create and put forward an idea. It might be revolutionary, and perhaps compete with the International Olympic Committee or the Athletics Association. I don't remember if it's the IAA or something like that. But the thing is, because doping will never be eradicated, no matter what the brands pay for PR campaigns, etc., doping will exist. Because by banning something, we won't make it disappear, right? Make your pick. I mean, take your pick. Make your choice. Prostitutes, drugs, everything that's banned will still happen. So doping the same. My idea is, okay, let's give the same access to all athletes. Prime, dope, good. I mean, number 1 can have it and numbers 100 can have it. I don't care. All access to the same type of high-spec drugs. And then have them run in just plain shoes. 0-drop shoes. Barefoot shoes. No carbon plates, no just springy, jumpy, nutty professor blubber shit. Yeah, just plain shoes. Run. But because humans cannot be trusted fully, I suggest that let's take a 100-meter race. Wait, the first one to get to the end doesn't win. My winner is the last. Because my assumption is they are so doped up, they are so charged and fueled that the more they consume, the harder it would be for them to go slower and not win. So the last one is my gold medalist. Second to last, silver, etc. Right? We just turn the world around. We put it upside down and we just laugh at those big brands, big egos, that greed that becomes a never-ending sea of sadness, because that pursuit is like trying to quench your thirst with seawater. It will never happen. The goal is always ahead of you, like the carrot, right? That's a beautiful image. So I know, Lance, you are tuning in, and all those who have been banned for doping, right? I'm with you. I'm with you because they are still taking drugs, they are competing, and you are not allowed to compete. So, yeah, let's make doping freely available to everyone. And then let's enjoy, let's run, let's do things for fun, right? Because when you are an amateur, the word comes from the French, which is amateur. In Portuguese is amador. It means a lover. So become a lover, become an amateur, which is used in a derogatory ways sometimes, but become an amateur at everything you do. Love what you do. And then you won't even need to watch me, because you'll be on another plane, right? Remember, RDS's ideas will change the world if at least anyone heeded them.